I want to talk to you this morning about a thought that keeps us from progressing. All right, a thought that from progressing, and it's something that I've had to deal with, something that I still deal with, and something I believe many of us go through. And it's a thought. It's not that this thing is too hard. All right, we may be faced with a challenge, and one of the things we think of, it's too hard, or we want to do something, we have a goal, we have something to accomplish, and we think it's too hard. But it's not even that. It's not even fear, because obviously fear is real for many of us. We go through times of fear, and we just it can definitely keep us paralyzed in that. But there's something else that I think many of us are aware of fear, but it's something other than that, something I think most people aren't even aware of. And today we're actually going to go just even in the Bible and do a Bible story from this to even show this point as well. But the thought that keeps us from progressing is, I already know that. I put in quotes. I already know that. And when we get to that point, we miss some valuable things. This even ties into yesterday's teaching. If you remember, I was talking about learning and learning something, really learning something or learning about it. So if you didn't see that, then check yesterday's video that I did. But when we have that mentality, I already know that, which is so easy, it's so subtle for us to get into, because it seems like, I already know that. It just prevents us from learning some very basic foundational things. There's something I'm learning even right now. There's some training I'm going through, and a good portion of it I could say, okay, I already know it. But I'm actually taking time to go back to lay the foundation, to learn these things from step one, so that I'm even better prepared to go forward. Because what I was doing before was kind of jumping to where I thought I should be, and I wasn't quite grasping everything that was there because there were some foundational things I was missing. And a lot of times we do that in life, and we'll think that we know something, but we really don't know the foundation. And the story I'm going to tell you is from the Bible. It's in Genesis, and I'm not going to do reading necessarily of it. It's Genesis. I do have my Bible here, and I believe it is Genesis. So this is the first book of the Bible, and it's Genesis chapter 17. And it's when the Lord was talking to Abram. Actually, at this point, they changed his name. His name is Abraham, because he gave the promise about having a seed, that Abram, that he would have a child. And if you know some of the stories, just briefly tell you, him and his wife Sarai, who later would become Sarah, were supposed to have, the Lord told them that they were going to have a child, but they were up there in age. So what Abraham did was, they decided together to go to his handmaid. So he didn't have a child with his wife. He had a child with another woman that was there, and they thought this was the plan, because they were too old. It was they thought it was going to be impossible for them to have a child, even though the Lord told them. So many lessons we can pull from that too. But so they have this other child, and this child's name is Ishmael. And so the Lord comes back to Abraham, and he even really reminds him of the promise that he told him. And Abraham's response to him is, he kind of says to him, "Oh, I got Ishmael here." And it's kind of like that same mentality I'm talking to you about. Like, I already did this. I already accept this. This is what I did. I already took care of it. I already have done that. I already know this. I got this part covered, so we can move forward. And the Lord is like, no, that's not the promise that I had told you about, the child that I had promised to you. I promised between you and Sarai, which became Sarah. So that same mentality that, okay, I already got this. It just holds the same thing they did, the same thing we go through as well too. We think that we know certain things, and we skip through, we skip steps, and we miss out. We don't progress forward. We hold ourselves back, and it's something about learning the foundations, the base. There was something I was watching with even Mike Tyson. You should know the boxer, and he was talking about, I believe one of his sons that said he was going to become a boxer. And yeah, he conceded his dad was a great boxer. I mean, he might have the physical attributes of being a boxer, but then he said he's going to be a boxer. And his dad looked at him and he said, "You're not from the streets. You didn't go through, coming up in the streets like me. You can't box because you didn't go through the process." See, sometimes we look at the end result. We look at the part that we want to see and be like, okay, well, we got the other parts covered. I already know that. I already did that. And it's just like I was talking about yesterday. Just because you've maybe learned about something or you've seen something, it doesn't mean that you've actually learned it until you actually go through it. And we can't skip the process on so many different things, because the process is what helps us to, going through the process, it helps us to it prepares us for what it is that we're going into. So even sometimes people look at me in business and like, okay, I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing, this and that. But there was a process that we go through, and each part of those processes, even from the beginning, from the start to the grind, so to say, and to development, to the growth, all that was important to get to the point that we're at. So when we're looking to grow and progress, we can't skip over certain parts in life. And I can even tie this even into things we talk about, let's say with grief, or with going through the different challenges that we have in life. You can't skip through even grieving. There's a process that you go through at grieving. So having someone that can help you through the grieving process, or just going through that process altogether, is what helps you get to the healing. It don't just skip to, okay, I know I can, I know there's a destination. Let me just go straight to destination. No, I'm in New Jersey, and when we go to Florida, we like to go to Florida. We can't just, and we like to travel by car down. We can't just skip through Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and get to Florida. No, we have to go through each one, because then by going through first Jersey, then we hit Delaware, then we hit Maryland, then we hit Virginia. By skipping one, then we couldn't get to the next one. So it's the same thing we got to think about in life. And think about maybe what have you thought you could skip over, but because you already got this, already knew this, like Abraham was saying, what are you missing out on, and what's keeping you actually more delayed in life because you skipped over certain things? I'll say this, the same thing with the relationship with the Lord. Okay, I always ties back to Christ as well. Many people, I'll say, think that they really understand what it is to have a relationship with the Lord. And while it is simple to have a relationship with the Lord, we talked about this the other day as well. There's a difference between simple versus easy. And many people, I say for myself, I grew up in church. And it really wasn't until a couple of years ago that I really started to understand fully what it meant. And I wouldn't say I understand even right now fully. I'm just saying a lot more and really understand, instead of just going through the motions and, thinking it's this and that and doing all this and, following this and, following after that person, this person, whatever. Just realizing what really the gospel is and what I'm supposed to be doing. It wasn't just until a couple of years ago. And many people skip that first part and think, oh, I know about quote unquote religion. I know about, people who go to church, or, what it means and things like that. And from just listening and talking to people, it's just not true, because they've skipped over the foundational things and just even understanding the basics. Like, what is the gospel? So I know I've been long, and I'm not going to be too much long because I've been long. But I'm going to tell you in 10 words. This is what I learned a couple years ago. Just, somebody asks you, what's the gospel? What's the gospel? Yeah, what would your answer be? This is for you. And I'll tell you in 10 words what the gospel is. And it's actually found in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Christ died for our sins and rose from the dead. 10 words. The gospel. This is the gospel of Christ. In those 10 words. In those 10 words, though, it means so much and it affects our lives in so many different ways. But that is the gospel. Okay? So, again, in life, overall, don't think that you already got this. I already did this. I already know that. All those are like the same thing wrapped up together. But be open to learn, even go back to the foundation and learn from the base. Don't try and skip the process. Don't try and skip the process. Because, again, just because we know about something doesn't mean that we actually really know it. We got to go through the process so that we can be processed. All right? You get better at what you keep doing, so practice doing good things.